Hi everybody. In this video I want to talk to you about the story of you. I want to talk about your authentic story. And I'm not talking about the conscious story that you identify with, like we typically describe ourselves as what we are to other people or what we do for a living. So maybe you're a parent or a friend, a son or daughter, an accountant, a teacher, an artist, whatever it is that you define yourself as. That's not your underlying story. Your underlying story is kind of how you think of yourself. Usually it's subconscious beliefs that we adopt, or rules or conditions that we adopt, and we adopt them from other people or a source outside of ourselves, like our experiences, especially early childhood or adverse or traumatic experiences, or really just sometimes it's the repetitive experiences that are in and of themselves fairly benign or neutral, but they compounded, they are training or conditioning us to believe that that we're failures, or that we mess things up, or that we always or we never fill in the blank. And it's self-image to some degree, but they're usually, you can find that in your thoughts. And whatever you think about yourself, whatever you believe to be true about yourself, like whether you have value, what defines your value, what you deserve and don't deserve, whether you're lovable, things like that. I'm talking about the really deeply rooted stuff that we learn early on. That is the underlying story that we adopt about ourselves, that plays out in our thoughts and our negative self-talk, if we have that, or whatever our self-talk is. And it's also becomes our worldview. It's how we believe others perceive us, because it is our adopted self-perception. It's our adopted story. The thing is about this story is it's not one that you chose consciously. You didn't write this story for yourself. You didn't decide one day that my value depends on what I can do for other people, or I have no value, or my value is limited, or I get what I deserve, or it is not safe to be seen. That was a big one for me. And it took a long time to really identify that and create a new story for myself. Mind you, that was more than a decade ago, when I didn't really have a system. I didn't really have that training and expertise, and now I do, and I work to help my clients and to help people really figure out what the underlying story is that they're operating in. It's usually, you can identify it because it's either like that negative voice in your head, or the negative story you tell yourself that talks you out of things that you desire and deserve, or it can be related to safety and keeping yourself safe. It can be, why bother? This is silly. Basically telling yourself no, that you don't deserve something before you even give yourself a chance. And that is essentially, that's that voice that does that is actually your ego mind, and the ego is trying to keep you safe from perceived danger. It knows that you have had experiences that felt similar or triggered similar emotions in the past, and it's trying to, before you even get a chance to get hurt, it wants to keep you safe from that. So it's like, oh no, you can't do that. You can't have that. That's not going to work out. There's no sense in even trying. And those thought processes are related to the story of ourselves. Okay. Changing your story is, in theory, quite simple. I mean, you can just decide what you want more of, and that can become your new story. Like, you can decide you want to be expressive and vocal and seen and heard and successful and in a connected, loving relationship or whatever. But if there's an underlying operating system of belief, conditioning, and or a story, that's what's going to cause you to kind of spin out in a loop or a cycle and not create the outcome that you desire. Because what you want, what your logic mind wants, and what your subconscious mind wants, if they are not synchronized, if they're not on the same page, then it's like you're never going to get where you're trying to go, or it's going to take you a really long time, or you're going to be encountering obstacle after obstacle, feeling stuck or limited or held back in some way. So if you have ever tried really hard to create something, a dream, a goal, an outcome that's new, or something that you desire, and you do all the work and you work so hard and you put in the time and the effort, and you still fall short or don't get there, or end up right back where you started, or perceive that you end up back where you started, or if you just feel stuck, like it's like you're never going to get there, likely there's an underlying subconscious story that's keeping you from creating the outcome that you want. And that is something that I can help you with in a session, to uncover what the story is and identify what simple practical action you can take going forward to help you not get stuck there. We neutralize the emotional pathways, the neural pathways, and the energetic pathways in a session, which makes it easier because you're disrupting that physiology or biochemistry of patterns that are literally in your physical body. Because the physical body is where your subconscious information, memory, everything is stored. Conscious mind, head brain. Subconscious mind, the whole body. All the cells of the whole body. So, I just want to give an example of this. My own story years ago was that, and it's a story that was written by other people, experiences that I had, especially repetitive ones that kind of reiterated that thinking was correct, that what other people said to me about me must be true. Also reiterated by uncomfortable feelings and emotions that I had. And of course, conditioning beliefs that are formed out of emotions, pain, trauma, and experience. And the story, that underlying subconscious story that's limiting and holding us back, it's not your real story. It's not your truth. No matter how you think of yourself, I assure you that a story that was created outside of you is not your authentic story. And whatever you desire to have in your life, you deserve that, because we're all born with an intrinsic worthiness, a value, just by being who we are. Every single person has that quality. And I once believed about myself that I didn't have any value except for that which came from pleasing others or being pleasing to others. So not rocking the boat, not disrupting things, being good, essentially. And no matter how the story, that was my belief, and then the story that I told myself from what others, my experiences taught me, is that no matter how I strive to do my absolute best to not be disruptive, or to keep things neat and tidy, and to be pleasing and quiet and good and smart and excel at things. No matter how much I did, the feedback loop I got was the same, that it wasn't enough. And so I began to believe that was my story, that the story of not enough. I also believed that it was better and safer for me to be invisible, to not be seen or heard. And my experiences reiterated that by, every time I did speak up, or was, spotted doing something, even something, useful, like chores or something. A lot of times that feedback loop was still the same as if I had done something bad, or was displeasing to others. So once it was like, the story developed from, I should just be quiet and unseen, to it's pointless to even try. So my story evolved from something not great to something that was actually even more detrimental to my well-being. So I believed that I wasn't good enough, and I didn't deserve good things, or that I did deserve whatever I got, even if those things were negative or didn't feel good, because of that negative feedback loop. So that story is the story of me I adopted, and I started playing that out in my life, no matter that I wasn't wearing it, outwardly and putting that out into the world, because of course that would be humiliating, and I was not, proud of, what I thought about myself, or what I thought others thought about me at all. But I would wear a mask publicly that was, a smile and a happy face, and tried to cover up that inadequacy, lack, not good enough story inside me. And of course, anyone I let in even a little bit could see right through the mask. So I didn't really let many people in. And the ones I did let in, I didn't let them stick around very long. I pushed them away, because my story was that nobody wants to be around me. I'm not good enough. But I played it out, and outwardly in my relationships and in my life. And from an outside perspective, it probably looked like I had things together. I had a decent job, I did all the things, and I tried to be social, and I had a dog. I just had a normal life. But on the inside, I was living and suffocating in my subconscious story and beliefs. So the story, the version of me I just told you, it's really kind of hard to tell, because the truth is, I remember how that story played out in my thoughts, and how my feelings would match those thoughts, and then how my body would follow suit and feel depleted, drained, unbalanced, and eventually unwell and in pain. And that old story of me, it has absolutely nothing to do with who I truly am. But for a long time, I could not see past that, to connect with my true story. And I felt disconnected from other people and from the world. Mostly, I felt like a stranger in my own skin, in my own body, and often didn't even recognize the person looking back at me in the mirror. So I can tell you that I've changed my story, and my story now is that I am creative and intelligent and good enough, and that it's safe. I've created safety for myself by changing my story, that it's safe to show up and be seen and heard. The pain trauma and drama that I have endured in my life, it no longer creates barriers and limitations for me. Since I gave myself time and space to shift some of the subconscious patterns of thought, belief, and story. Now I can see past those old wounds, and I can feel into my resilience and know that I am not a victim, and I know what my worth is and my value, and I serve like that. I help people by my own resolve and my own free will, not because it's a matter of being pleasing or what I can do in order to gain value. But I can't say that that's always been true by any means, because, well, that's just, that was my path to get here, I suppose. But it really gives me a very up close and personal perspective on the healing process, and I bring that into my intuitive energy sessions to activate healing and facilitate healing at such a deep level, because not just training and experience, but because of my own personal experience. I've been on the other side, and so I know things like healing is a process, so it doesn't have to take as long as it took to become unwell to heal, but it does take time, and it takes some simple but very focused action, which is also included in sessions with me, because action is really important. And the reason why action is important is because it acknowledges the physical aspect of the human experience. So I work within the energy and emotion and even the mental processes, but none of those are physical things. Our physical body is the first thing that we neglect when we don't feel safe. And it's not a matter of intentionally neglecting it. It's that it's hard to be present in a physical body when you don't feel physically safe. And especially those who have had trauma or pain or adverse experiences that didn't feel safe. That's often the reason why the physical body has symptoms, because we kind of shift out of our body, and we focus so much on how we feel and what we think, and everything is kind of up here in just in our headspace, instead of allowing us to really be present in our physical body. So something to think about. If this intrigues you or it resonates with you, I ask please share. I do appreciate that. Definitely share with friends, and don't forget to like or subscribe, write meow, and and if you would like to talk about or talk through your story, or how I can help you shift your story, or what it takes, by all means, leave a comment, send an email, or go ahead and just schedule a discovery call, and we can talk about what you need and if I can help you create it. So thank you for watching, and I will see you very soon in the next video. Bye.